Sup fans, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. So welcome, sit down, relax, and today we're going to be, in a way, we're going to be quickly covering the entire, instead of just doing a separate video each and then again, I would love to do video essays one day of these, or just their own in-depth reviews one day, but today, we're going to be quickly doing a quickly looking back in a spoiler heavy discussion of the Conjuring Universe coming up right now, and I hope you guys enjoy the show. Alright guys, quiet on set. Scene 1, take 1. Action. Boom. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure you guys leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you share with your friends. Also hit that bell for the notification as well. It does help a lot. And if you're new here, welcome, sit down, relax, and enjoy the show. And I would kindly appreciate if you guys do hit that subscribe button, because I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So let's make that happen, folks. All right, guys, and without further ado, I'm gonna do it at this. Instead of doing a theatrical order, I'm gonna just do it specifically like here. So we're gonna talk about the first 4 Conjuring films, which is the main films. Then we're gonna talk about the spin-offs, like the Annabelle trilogy, then the Nun, then the Curse of La Llorona. Yes, I am including the Curse of La Llorona because originally it was part of the Conjuring Universe. Apparently it's not anymore, but whatever. I still consider it because it's still there's a character there that's from the Conjuring Universe. So let's get started, guys. First things first, we're gonna talk about the Conjuring. Oh, also a quick note here, guys. I'm just gonna say this straightforward. Fuck the Warrens. They are scam artists in my opinion, and there's been accusations that they've abused some of their clients and all that stuff. And yeah, I've been hearing a lot of stuff is coming out from the Warrens, and yeah, I think they're shitty people and all this stuff. So yeah, fuck the Warrens. And how I see the Conjuring Universe, how I see these films, I see them as fiction, separate things. I prefer the movie Warrens than the real life Warrens. All right, guys. So now let's get into the Conjuring. So the Conjuring basically is about the parents case where the Warrens, they help out the parent family, and I believe it's the Amityville case. I'm not sure, not the Amityville horror case, but like the Amity horror case and all that stuff. And so yeah, basically this house gets terrorized by this witch, ghost, or demon, or there's a demon and all this stuff. And of course, you know, it kills a dog, and you know, it leads to that climactic like exorcist thing, the exorcism, you know, at the end, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's basically the plot. Yeah, I'm just gonna be doing nice bite-sized reviews, guys, so I'll just try to breeze as much as I can. This is James Wan's introduction to the franchise, and I gotta say, guys, I love this movie. I think this movie still holds up to the very day. The scares, like, you know, the whole like hide and seek, you know, but when they clap when they're close, that's a damn good scare, especially when it leads to the basement. That is so cool. That scene where like the sisters are like trying to sleep, but then one of them, I think Jamie King's in this one, I think, and she's like legit telling her like it's right behind you, and you don't see anything, and that is so terrifying for me, and I love that so freaking much and all that stuff. And the Warrens, played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, they are great here. They are really good here, and when they come in to help the family, that is cool, especially when Lorraine, she's a psychic, she has all these visions, and there's at least amazing jump scares with the laundry scene and the witch, or the woman hanging from the tree. That is really freaking cool here. I really love that a lot. And of course, we get the introduction to Annabelle, the doll. Unlike the Raggedy Ann, we get to this porcelain one here, which I do love. This design is really nice. At least the cool scares and all that stuff, and I love that so much. And wow, guys, no, I think this is a nice classic. I would say it's a classic horror film. James Wan's direction, it is amazing. It's so well paced, where like you get to know the characters, you get to see the Warrens being a loving family before they start getting into the whole like terrorizing and all the terror and all that stuff of the film. And you really do see just see this nice plot development, and the pacing is so nice. You get to know the family, the parents more. You really get to see this nice climax and build up, and when it builds up, it's very satisfying, especially with the exorcism with the mother. She gets possessed and she tries to kill her kids. That is really freaking nice. It's a beautiful scene. It's really well shot too. It's beautifully well acted, and it leads to this nice conclusion. Of course, you get to see the Warrens' collection of cursed objects and all that stuff, and I just love how it just ends there at that frame. So guys, I gotta say, this is a really damn good classic film. So with that, if I were to give the Conjuring a rating, I'll give it a perfect 5 out of 5. I really love this film so much, and in my opinion, it very much holds up. The Conjuring 2, basically the Warrens they're doing the investigation of basically the British Amityville Horror and all that stuff. And yeah, this family just moved into this house. They're getting terrorized by this, well, apparently it's supposed to be this old man ghost, but then when you really look into it, it's actually kind of a demon. Actually, Valak, the demon, you know, we all know her as the nun, but it's Valak and all stuff, the image of this nun. But this is before the whole nun spin-off films, and we'll get to that really. So yeah, I really love this one. I think it's up there with the original. You get to see more of the Warrens, how loving they are. There are moments where like they're helping with the family out when they go to the UK to help them out, and you get to before that you get to really know the family, which is really nice. It's a single mother trying to raise these kids, just being terrorized by this demon. It's just crazy. And when the Warrens help them out, I love how this movie takes a moment where Patrick Wilson, Ed, plays this song, you know, an Elvis song. I love that so much. It takes time to breathe. And this was so well shot. James Wan returns to direct this film, and you really get to see his direction here, directing these characters, these actors, and it is just beautiful. It's the moments where you get to breathe here. And I like that there's some skepticism here and there. You get these skeptics here that are just debunking this, and you kind of see all that stuff with all that stuff. And the Warrens, they're not gonna help until like they uncover the tape, the recordings, and they find out that they gotta help them out, that what they're saying is true. And I like that the painting Valak, because Lorraine is having these visions because in the first movie they talk about they were trying to help out Frenchie, again a character here who got possessed by a demon, and when he touched her, she screamed, she saw something, and you get to know what she saw, and it's Valak, the demon. And the demon, she does this painting and it comes alive and it tries to terrorize Judy Warren, and that is really freaking cool. At least the cool sequences and all that stuff. And of course, Valak gets vanquished at the end of this film, which is really cool. And also, she has this prediction, this psychic prediction where Ed dies, and he was about to die, and luckily she saves him right on time. I really dug this a lot. So if I were to give The Conjuring 2 a rating, I would really give this a 5 out of 5. It's up there with the first one. The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. It's the one with the famous The Devil Made Me Do It case where this guy murders this dude, but then again he feels like he was possessed by a demon. The Warrens help out and yada yada yada, all that stuff. This is Michael Chavez's second film, because he directed La Llorona before this. So Michael Chavez comes in and takes the director's mantle from James Wan, and this one, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. The scares are nice. The build-up's pretty nice, but the pacing, in my opinion, is all over the place and all that stuff. Some of the scares are not as memorable because they're kind of like, they're not as well directed as James Wan. James Wan knows how to hold a shot. And then once he gets you really good. It's not just in The Conjuring, he gets it with the Insidious franchise. And here it's just like, whatever. It is what it is. I mean, I think looking back, I think Michael Chavez did a better job with La Llorona than the Conjuring sequels that he's done. But then again, he's not a bad director. It's just that, I mean, it's his, he has big fills to shoot for James Wan, and I think James Wan just did it. But as a director, Michael Chavez knows how to direct these characters still. At the end of the day, the Warrens, especially after Ed suffers a heart attack when helping the family out before, and they gotta help him back again, but trying to do the exorcism, yeah, he suffers a heart attack. And there's some moments where the demon fucks with Ed and Lorraine Warren, especially with Ed, and you really, like, you're actually intense with Ed because he's not in the best shape to be handling these investigations. And you really see the Warrens in this vulnerable state, and I like that a lot. And when they try to cover this witch's talisman and all this witch's thing with the demon and summoning, it is pretty cool. And also the family, they're fine and all that stuff. So I just think the pacing is all over the place with this movie, kind of like with this review. It's all over the place here with the scares and not a lot of build up, and when things get down, it's like, well, okay, it is what it is. I think, in my opinion, this is the weakest Conjuring film out of all of them. So with that, I would give The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, if I would give it a rating, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. It's fine. It's pretty fine. The Conjuring 4, well, The Conjuring Last Rites is the fourth final installment. Judy's getting married and all that stuff, but then again, this demon is hunting her because, of course, not too long ago, I reviewed this film already in the spoiler-free review, but this is spoiler one this time around. So the Warrens, when they were younger, before when Lorraine was still pregnant with Judy, they encountered this haunted mirror, and it almost killed them. She had a stillborn, but then it came back because she prayed to God and all that stuff. And years later, the mirror comes back to hunt back the Warrens. It's trying to hunt Judy here with this cool sequence, and also, especially in IMAX. Now it's hunting this family that they got her as for a Sweet 16, I believe. This is one of the characters. She got it as a Sweet 16 gift, I think, or a happy birthday gift. And of course, shit happens right away. You know what? I gotta say, it gets straight to the point, and it's not as all over the place like the last one. Michael Chavez comes back once again to direct this film, and I think this is better. But not a lot. I still have my issues with this film. I like the Warrens here. Again, you get to know Judy and she gets her boyfriend, and you get to know these characters. I love the scenes with the Warrens. They are so cool. Unfortunately, I think they also create a misbalance here because you focus so much on the Warrens where, like, I know it's their movie, it's their last film. The last film in the franchise apparently. But you don't get to know the family much. That's my issue with this film. Once, like, they finally come together because, you know, Judy's getting these visions like her mother, it feels forced. Like, it feels like so half-assed and last minute. So the third act feels so half-assed last minute with the family. You don't get to know the family a lot. I mean, you get to know them, they're fine. I actually quite like the family, but you don't really get to know them, especially with, like, once the Warrens start to help them out, the chemistry's just not there. They don't get a lot of screen time to get good chemistry with them. So when the final climax comes out, it's just like, okay, whatever, with the family, you know. And it's more of the Warren story. I get it, but it's still more with the Warren story. And the climax, it's fine. It's a nice climax and all stuff. There's a scene where they get Annabelle, the doll. She becomes this giant kaiju-like creature, and that's it. That's pretty much, it's just the demon again fucking with them. And when they vanquish the demon finally, it's pretty damn satisfying, really. But and then also there's some cool scares to the family where, like, there's some more that catch me off guard with the bed scene and all that stuff when it's getting lifted up. The mirror scene with Judy is really freaking nice, and yeah, that's pretty fun. But my problem with the film is that you don't get much time with the other family, and once, like, the third act happens with the Warrens, it doesn't feel earned. But overall, guys, as a final installment, it's perfectly fine. I gotta say, it's a nice send-off to the Warrens, especially the wedding scene with Judy. Like, you see James Wan make a cameo, pretty meta cameo. You see the parents, you see the family from the UK, you see other people from the franchise, and you know what? I gotta say, that's pretty sweet. That's a pretty sweet way to end the franchise if this is the end. So with that, yeah, I will stand by my. I would just go with this. I don't know if this is my original rating. I was gonna say stand by my rating, but I will say this. I will give The Conjuring a solid 3 out of 5. But I say this is a better film than 3. So now we're gonna get on with the spin-off film. So first, we're gonna talk about the Annabelle trilogy. So with Annabelle, basically a couple, they get the doll, but then they get terrorized by these cult leaders. One played by Annabelle, one of the cult leaders. I think she's a cult leader. She kills her parents. They try to stupidly investigate what's going on next door. Again, nobody fucking locks their goddamn doors in that neighborhood. Goddamn it! And then and then they get assaulted. They kill the dude, but Annabelle kills herself. But blood falls on the Annabelle doll that they got. She goes, I like your doll. This couple, they get an Annabelle doll, and because she's one of the characters, she's pregnant, and yeah. And she gets stabbed, but luckily she survives along with the baby. The baby's saved. So the blood trickles on the doll, and that somehow just, like, you know, the demon is an Annabelle. Because Annabelle was she's a cult leader summoning a demon. But then again, you get to know a cool twist in the second movie. She she gets killed and basically possessed by a demon, and it trickles down to the doll, and the doll is now possessed by the demon from the cult. And now the demon is just terrorizing his family. And I gotta say, I remember not liking this film when I first saw it, but rewatching it on Blu-ray from my physical media collection and on HBO Max, I gotta say I really appreciate this one. My issue with the film is that it's a bit too condensed. It's too much of a small film, and you can tell, like, they did a lot of budget cuts. But other than that, but yeah, I actually quite like the characters here. No, I like the couple here. They're really nice. You get to know them. Their baby's adorable. Father Perez, he's pretty cool here and all that stuff. There's this librarian. She's pretty cool, but then again, kind of predicted that she was gonna sacrifice herself and all that stuff. But she has this sad story where, like, she tried to kill herself because of the death of her mother. I mean, her daughter. And I gotta say, that's pretty sad. But then again, this also leads to another issue I have with Annabelle, is that it's very predictable. This movie is very freaking predictable, but the scares are nice. They're really nice. You get to see the demon in full form, which is really cool, and the build up and tension is pretty nice. For the condensed film, it's pretty solid. But there's a lot of moments where, like, especially in the beginning, where this couple makes stupid decisions. But what can you do? But yeah, then again, it's a pretty nice condensed movie. Pretty low budget. You could tell it's very low budget compared to the other ones. But I quite enjoyed it. I actually appreciate it more in these days. So with that, I will give Annabelle a solid 3 out of 5. Annabelle Creation, I gotta say, out of all the 3 Annabelle films of this trilogy, I love this the most. So basically, it's the story. basically the origins of the doll, the origins of where it came from. So basically this toy maker created this limited edition porcelain doll. His daughter dies of an accident, so they use like a way to contact the spirit world, and they thought it was Annabelle that they're communicating with. It turns out it was the demon from the first movie. And so now like the mother, she gets deformed, like she gets scratched by the demon, and they lock the doll up. So this orphanage, they come in, and they actually let this orphanage in, you know, for hospitality, to stay there. Unfortunately, the demon plays his tricks, and our main character, she opens it up, she discovers the doll, and now the demon is loose. So it possesses her at the end. So that's where like this girl becomes Annabelle. It ends with her like being adopted by the parents that were killed in the beginning of the first movie. So I love this movie so much. David F. Sandberg directs this film, and I'm a huge fan of David F. Sandberg from Lights Out, even the short version. I even enjoy his Shazam movies. I love David F. Sandberg so much here, and his direction is amazing. I think the budget is much better, even though it's low budget still. It's very much like the budget is well spent here. Cinematography is beautiful. The characters are amazing. I love our main characters that are so awesome. The mother and father of the Annabelle girl, they're really nice. It's such a well shot film. The score is amazing. The tensions is crazy. The demon is crazy. And also when Annabelle, the doll, is around, it's freaking creepy. It's very freaking creepy. I love it. The scarecrow scene at the end, it is really cool. I really enjoy Annabelle Crazy so much. And just the scares, the jump scares are so well used. And the performances by everybody, they are amazing. So with that, yeah, real quick, I'll just give a perfect 5 out of 5 for Annabelle Creation. Annabelle Comes Home. Basically, it's the aftermath of everything. The Warrens, this is the first time when the Warrens finally take in the Annabelle doll and put him in the cursed object scene. So, but then again, this story is more about Judy and her babysitters. Judy, this time played by McKenna Grace, who is now becoming a big star now. They basically it becomes this nice classic haunted house. So now not only do they open up, you know, they let that Annabelle out, but they let these cursed objects in with this, you know, this kabuto, this Japanese kabuto, and you get all these other demon ghost creatures roaming around, and that is really cool here. Especially this werewolf, this werewolf creature is really freaking cool, and Annabelle is pretty cool. The performances by McKenna Grace and everybody is really cool. I love the babysitter. It's funny. There's this character in the film. She has a little brother who picks on Judy in the film. And you find out that you find out that him and her big sister, who was one of the other babysitters, who was a friend of the babysitter, who's really nice. She's really sweet. She has a crush on this boy and all that stuff, and that's very, 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 very sweet with those two. I like the chemistry between them, and of course with Judy. But her friend and her brother, their bad dad passed away. And it was during a car accident that she was driving, the sister, she was driving it, and she blames herself for the death of her father. And actually, that's a very sad scene, because Annabelle and the gang, the demon crew, they fuck with her so much. It's a jump scare scene with her dead father. They really fuck with her hard, and that is cruel, especially what she's going through right there. Oh my god. So yeah, I like that the scene with her little brother's picking on Judy, because he's venting something. And then again, I'm not justifying what he's doing is good. No, but you sympathize with these characters. That's what I'm trying to say. And I like that the end where Lorraine gives her this locket to like I don't know what she gives. Yeah, she she hands her back the picture that she has of her father, because she puts it in this locket. She tries to communicate, but unfortunately it brings in a demon. But I love that Lorraine said that I communicate with her father, and he's proud of you, and he says it's not your fault, you can move on. And it's a beautifully acted scene. I love that the Warrens, they're not in this much, but when they're there, it's really sweet. And I just love this classic haunted house feel for this film. Really good film. And so with that, I would give Annabelle Comes Home a solid 4 out of 5. I don't think it's as good as the Creation, but Comes Home, it's such a solid entry. I love it so much. It's one of the top ones on my list. All right. Before we get on to the bottom of the barrel for me, I'm just gonna forget that. I'm gonna set aside. Let's talk about the Curse of La Llorona real quick. The Curse of La Llorona, basically, this is Michael Chavez's debut in the franchise. So basically, this family, this mother played by Linda Cardellini, who in California, I think, and she gets terrorized. You know, she's a social worker or something like that. She works with kids. abused kids. So then she finds out that the mother's locking them, or she feels that their mother is abusing them, and she takes them in. Unfortunately, something happens. The kids are murdered, and no, the mother was actually protecting them from somebody. Who? La Llorona. La Llorona. Basically, this is the famous urban legend, my boogeyman. I was afraid of her when I was a child. She drowned her kids out of spite, because a long time ago in Mexico, she drowned her kids in spite of her late husband of abandoning her for a younger woman. The classic story. Maria, the most beautiful woman in the pueblo, in town, falls in love with this like handsome man that rolls into town on a horse, leaves her for a younger woman once they establish the kids. So basically, she only cared for the kids, not her. He's a piece of shit. And she loses her mind, and just to spite him, drowns her kids. And you see it in the beginning of the film. Beautifully shot sequence, actually. Michael Chavez did a great direction here. Until she realizes what she has done, she either dies of depression or she kills herself. So now she's a spirit, like a vengeful spirit, roaming the living world. Ay, mis hijos. Looking for her kids to replace them. Looking for her kids, but she would get kids to replace them, or she would get the kids, kidnap children, just to find out they're not her kids. She kills them. So yeah, she gets in the pearly gates of heaven, and St. Peter tells her you can't get in until you find your kids. You know, that's basically how it is. So yeah, so now she's done with those kids, she leaves a mark. She marks her Linda Cardellini's kids. And now she's after them, and now she's got to protect them from her, which is a pretty cool scene. They get they get this shaman, Father Perez from the Annabelle films, from the first one. He comes in and helps them out, but they get this shaman, and he helps them out. He's funny. He's a great actor that I really love. Raymond Cruz. I love Raymond Cruz in this one. This shaman, and he like helps them out, and that's the cool. It becomes this like nice haunted house scene, but then again, that's also going to lead my issue with this film. They get to this nice isolated claustrophobic haunted house sequences where they try to vanquish La Llorona, and when they do vanquish her, it's pretty poetic. They vanquish her by they carve there was this cross that was carved from the tree where she drowned her kids, because the tree was the only witness to see her sins, and that is pretty cool, I gotta say. And they killed her ass. I don't understand the last shot where like Linda Cardellini looks at the puddle of water and she looks at you. I don't know what that means. Maybe she becomes the new Llorona and all that stuff, but whatever. But yeah, but the La Llorona herself, as a kid, she scared the shit out of me, and her design is perfect. That's who I envisioned La Llorona to be, like bleeding black, glowing yellow eyes, and like pale like skin, and just claws, which is crazy. There's moments when she was crying, and she looks at our characters, and that is how I pictured her. She's like this kind of slender in some areas. And the scene you see in the trailer, it's scarier in the movie. Where like when like the car scene when the little boy looks up and she's right there, right in front of his face, like holy shit, that is such a good sequence here. Linda Cardellini and everybody does a great job. The acting's pretty nice. Leading into my problems is that yeah, it does feel like a very low budget movie, and you really see it. Like it's very isolated and secluded, not many locations. But one of my issues with the film is that this should have been taking place in Mexico. I know that people even people these days don't want to see a foreign film, people speaking in Spanish in a different language with subtitles. I know you don't want to read, but hey, then again, I'm coming from a biased perspective. I'm Mexican, and I'm used to seeing this stuff. And as a Mexican myself, I want to see my culture being properly represented. But to give credit where credit's due, California was once Mexico, and around that time, that's when she killed her kids. So California's still Mexico to her. So I mean, that kind of makes sense. And also they try to make her connected, because I also wanted the characters to be Mexican, or at least Latino. And Linda Cardellini, she's Italian. I think she's Italian. She's white. But they try to justify a white main character to but how my husband, he who died, he was a cop, he's Mexican, and my kids they're mixed race. And it's like, I mean, okay, whatever. That's just me though. I know I pissed people off with that, but yeah. not my favorite creative choices with this. And also I cannot stand when sometimes when they're speaking in Spanish, they have to repeat it in English. Just subtitle it, god damn it, in my opinion. Just god damn it. And no, but other than that, guys, I actually quite enjoy this film. It's really, I think it's pretty underrated. It's other than that, the pacing is nice. It scares good. I think Michael Chavez's best work from The Conjuring is The Curse of La Llorona. So yeah, the scares are good. It's pretty well paced, fun movie in many areas, and the climax is pretty fucking terrifying, especially when La Llorona Maria goes crazy because she can't find the kids. When she's up there, especially I have the Blu-ray. It has Dolby Atmos. The Dolby Atmos makes it crazy how you feel that she's stomping and just opening the doors. You really feel like she's up there and at the stairs, and she goes, oh, she screams. Scared the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie, that brought me back to when I was a kid, when I was afraid of her. Oh my god. So yeah, guys, if I were to give The Curse of La Llorona a rating, I'll give it a solid 3 out of 5. It's pretty decent, actually. I think it's pretty underrated, and I still consider this part of the Conjuring universe. All right, now we're gonna get the worst of the worst. All right, The Nun basically is the origin of Valak, the demon, but hey, Vera Farmiga's sister's in it. She plays this nun who has not yet done her vows, so she goes there and all that stuff. They investigate this murder and all stuff. Damian Bichir plays his father, which is really cool. And also you get to see Frenchie from the first Conjuring and the second Conjuring film. You get to see Frenchie, and I gotta say, Frenchie is really funny and all that stuff. So they investigate this Catholic castle or something like that, where they get terrorized by Valak and they gotta vanquish Valak. And that's pretty cool. They get the blood of Christ, and she spits on her face, on Valak's face, and that's how she gets the nun gets vanquished. But she gets inside Frenchie, and Frenchie, that's how he gets possessed, and with Valak, and that's kind of leads into the first movie, which is a nice stinger. I think Frenchie is the best character here. Frenchie's funny. He cracks jokes without breaking too much, without hurting the tension, which is really nice. Damian Bichir, he's pretty cool. He's pretty fine. Vera Farmiga's sister in this, the sister, she's all right. She's pretty, fine. Some of the scares are pretty nice, especially when they're in a room full of demon nuns, when they crack, and also when you find out that all these nuns are dead the whole time. That is pretty cool. Other than that, guys, this movie sucks in my opinion. Goddamn, the scares are shit. A lot of the scares are pretty shitty. Jump scares are cheap. The cinematography is pretty nice. I gotta say again, the cinematography is pretty nice, but a lot of the scares, they're just a lot of the cinematography is kind of like wasted on just how it lingers on a couple of shots, and it leads to a cheap jump scare. It's so forgettable. Like the Valak, whatever. Okay, cool. I was so hyped to see this one and just see Valak. It's just like Valak, when Valak is there, she's pretty cool. Valak is pretty cool, but other than that, Valak is not used too well. The movie is just bland. It's like a lot of the times you just don't give a shit. There's a lot of explanation, and there's a lot of moments when the movie stops where they gotta explain shit. It's just so boring. And sometimes I think the climax drags on a bit too much. You think it's over, but it's not. Especially with the waters, like the scene within the dungeon with the water. I do like that World War II reference where like they contain the Valak demon and then it's busted out because of the bombings of the Germans. That is pretty cool. It's a very bland movie and it's just boring to watch. It's a slog to sit through. So with that, if I were to give The Nun a rating, I would give it a 2 out of 5. At least there are some redeeming moments. Finally, we're gonna talk about The Nun 2. Okay, I'm gonna quickly try to go with this. Yeah, so the nun is back. The Valak is terrorizing Frenchie and terrorizing this school and all that stuff because he likes this woman and his daughter, and her daughter, she wants to be friends with him. Basically, she kind of wants Ben to be her mother's boyfriend. That's pretty sweet. It's very sweet. Unfortunately, Valak is terrorizing the orphanage, but also Valak is terrorizing the sister from the first one, and also they have this other sister, and now this Valak is hopping onto people like murdering people and another Catholic priest and all that stuff. So yada yada yada. The story sucks in my opinion here. That's just another stupid excuse to make another sequel. This movie doesn't need to exist. Okay, so I gotta say, Vera Farmiga's sister, she's still good in this one. She's really nice. She gives a good performance. Frenchie's cool, but he doesn't get a lot of screen time. The scares, in my opinion, suck ass. Oh my god, they're so predictable. Not a lot of build up, and there's some cinematography is pretty nice. Acting is still pretty good, but again, these actors are pretty much wasted. Cinematography is pretty nice. Going back to that, their movies with these glass windows, they look pretty fucking cool. It is a well-shot movie, and you can tell where the money's pretty much spent, and the climax is stupid as hell. So instead of like the blood of Christ, she gets vanquished by wine, because I think it's blessed wine, I think. So okay, that's fine, but I don't know. I think it's a very cheap way to like, you know, vanquish Valak. And they're gonna make another one because it looks like, you know, she's out of Frenchie's body, but you could tell deep down he's not, because it's got to segue into the Conjuring 1 and 2. And no, at least in this climax where like they try to vanquish Valak, they surround Valak with a lot of wine barrels, and again, it's just at least a cool cinematography shots, but I don't know, it's just dumb. And also, Vera Farmiga's sister, she should have died in this film, because the way she was strangling, Valak was strangling the shit out of the sister character, she should have been dead. How could the hell whatever. She has flashbacks with her mom, whatever. The scares, when there's build up, it leads to the most laziest jump scares of all time. The story is weak as hell. It is bland. This movie sucks ass. So I want to just wrap this up here now. With that, I would give The Nun 2 a decent 1 out of 5 stars. Like, goddamn, this movie really sucks. This movie sucks ass. Hopefully one day I'll do like nice video essays, maybe on Patreon or something like that, or on for members, if the YouTube actually stops being pussies with copyright shit. I'll probably do a more in-depth review on The Nun 2 one day, but holy crap, that movie's shitty. But you know what? Let's not end on a sour note. Guys, that is my review for The Conjuring. Overall, The Conjuring Universe. Overall, guys, I still love this universe. It is nice. And I know they're bringing them out. Like, all of them are slowly out on 4K. Almost all of them. They just put out the last one is coming out soon. And the first one just got out on 4K, which is nice. New bonus features. I'm going to wait for a nice solid box set from Warner Brothers. So hopefully they do a nice box set, which is really nice. Not just this, you know, all in one pack. Alright guys, so that is my review for The Conjuring Universe. Let me know what you guys think of The Conjuring Universe and all that stuff. And yeah guys, so you know what, if I'm gonna give my ranking, our bottom is The Nun 2. Nun, respectfully, you know what, as much as The Conjuring 3, Conjuring 3, so Conjuring 3, Annabelle, Conjuring 4, Annabelle, the first one I think that's right now. Then it's gonna be The Curse of La Llorona. Then it's gonna be Annabelle Comes Home, Annabelle Creation, Conjuring 2, and Conjuring. I think that's my ranking for the franchise. If I missed something, yeah. But what is your ranking, guys? What do you guys think of The Conjuring Universe? Let me know down in the comment section down below. And with that, guys, I will see you guys next time. So with that, this is Javi from JAVIWOOD Productions signing off. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And that's a wrap.